I look better right now at 42 years old than I ever did when I was in my 20s. And I'm currently in a forced chemical menopause because I am a stage 2 breast cancer survivor. I went through breast cancer treatments all last year, and this year, let me tell you right now, I am feeling better than ever and looking better than ever. I am going to share with you today all my tips and tricks on how I am aging backwards, but what I'm really doing is aging well, not just with my skin, my mindset, but also with my body too. So get yourself a cup of tea or a water or maybe a mocktail mojito and a pen and paper. I am super old school. I write everything down, and you know what? I'm a 1982 vintage baby, and let's enjoy ourselves together. Let's just have some fun. My intention is that this video is going to give you some inspiration, some good ideas, and it's also going to be something you're just going to enjoy listening to. So let's get into it. Hi, my name is Lauren O'Connell, and I am, as I said, a 42-year-old breast cancer survivor. Yay! I am a mom of 2 teenagers. I am the beauty editor at Cosmopolitan Middle East magazine. I live in Dubai. I've been here for 16 years, and I'm originally from Milford, Connecticut, USA. I'm also a budding beauty entrepreneur. I've been working on my own brand for over 2.5 years, and later this year, it's finally getting launched. I am so excited. So, as I mentioned before, I wrote everything down, and I am just gonna go through with you everything I do to age backwards or age well. You use whatever terminology you like best. But I truly believe that real beauty just radiates from how you live, and you can have your glow up at any age. There's nothing that can ever hold you back. So jumping into it, first and foremost, skincare, you gotta know your ingredients. Skincare is 90% of aging well or aging backwards. And I personally am skincare obsessed. My background is in the sciences. I have a bachelor's in mechanical engineering, a bachelor's of science in mechanical engineering with a concentration in biomechanics, and I also have a master's of science in nursing. I've just always loved the sciencey side of life, and in my mid-30s, I started to really look at ingredients labels in my beauty products, trying to figure out what all those ingredients were. And I literally Googled every single one. I would write it down in notepads, and that's how I learned what they do. So I'm going to make a separate video about knowing your ingredients, because this video would be way too long if I went into everything. But for example, when it comes to vitamin C, you want to use a derivative that's very stable. And tetrahexyldecyl ascorbate, also known as THD ascorbate, is my favorite derivative of vitamin C. It sinks deep into skin. When it's in there, it converts to ascorbic acid, and that's pure vitamin C, and you're going to get the best benefits. I am talking brightening of the skin, reduction in hyperpigmentation, reduction in minimizing those fine lines and wrinkles, and your skin is going to really just brighten and glow. For exfoliants, you don't want to use any physical exfoliants. The walnut scrubs, all of those things are so out. They cause micro tears all over your skin and little openings for bacteria to get through, for your skin barrier to just be damaged, and for your skin to become really red, uneven, and just not look its best. Instead, these days, we are using lactic acid. Lactic acid is a chemical exfoliant, and when you put the serum on your skin, what it's going to do is it loosens up and it unglues the bonds between the dead skin cells. They're just going to slough off, and you're going to have radiant, fresh baby skin revealed underneath. So it comes down to those ingredients. go to that. The next video I'm going to make is the Know Your Ingredients video. So just wait for that. Put on notifications if you want. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, and I will lay out every single ingredient you need to use and what to avoid. It's also not making sure you're using the good things, but you're not using products that contain the bad things. I'm talking about pro-drying alcohols, which are going to just strip your skin of all of its moisture. If you have oily skin, those pro-drying alcohols are going to actually make your skin even oilier, and it's going to exacerbate your fine lines and wrinkles. You also want to avoid these synthetic fragrances and perfumes. Those contain so many, I mean up to thousands of ingredients that are never told to us because it's considered a trade secret by the company, and you have no idea what you're putting on your skin when there's fragrances and products. And also endocrine disruptors. We want to avoid hormone disruptors at all costs. Next up is SPF. If you're not using a good SPF, if you're not using SPF every day, nothing else that you do matters. SPF is the number one. And I always use Play by Supergoop. This is the everyday sunscreen. I put this all over my entire body, and this is a broad spectrum sunscreen. It combats the UVA, which are the aging rays, and the UVB rays, which are the ones that burn us. Even if you stay indoors all day long, you have to use your SPF. And that's because those aging rays can actually penetrate through glass, through our windows, and they age us, and we have no idea it's happening until we look in the mirror and just wonder why our skin is looking so saggy, why it has so many fine lines and wrinkles, and why it's covered in hyperpigmentation. So sunscreen is a must. I will, all the products I mentioned today, I will tag down below. Just know that if you do choose to purchase any of them, I will receive a very small commission. So moving on, don't follow any beauty trends, just forget them. Get yourself that really good skincare routine. That's all you need. And if you want to do any injections or injectables or lasers, by all means, go for it. I've had Botox many times in the past, and I've also had fillers a few times. I had this thing, I did it for the magazine. It was called the ponytail lift. Honestly, I didn't see that big of a difference. It was quite a while ago that I did that. They say fillers stay forever or for much longer than initially thought, but I'm pretty sure those fillers that I had dissolved, and they do dissolve over time. I have not had any Botox since before I was diagnosed with breast cancer in December of 2023. So it's been a while, and I do have some little crow's feet that are popping out underneath around my eyes. I don't move my eyebrows when I speak. I have no idea why. I've just always been like this, so it's given me a pretty smooth forehead. All right, and when it comes to makeup, less is more. I am a big believer now in using skin tints instead of heavy foundations. And the one that I really like is this Milk Makeup. This is the Hydro Grip Gel Tint. And this formula not only gives just a beautiful sheer wash of color on the face to really just cover up any slight imperfections and any discolorations, but it works as secondarily as it has so many skincare benefits. It works as extra skincare you're putting on your face. It's loaded with so many nourishing ingredients, and as we get older, to really have that aging well, aging backwards look, you want to constantly nourish your skin with fatty alcohols, with really nice emollients and occlusives and humectants, and this product could just contain so many of those fantastic ingredients. So I feel like when I'm putting this on, I'm just doing another favor for my skin. And when it comes to those under eyes, I want my under eyes to look as healthy, vibrant, plumped up, and dewy as possible. I have very dry skin, and I live in Dubai. I'm in that Middle Eastern sun. I've been here for 16 years, and I feel like I've done a pretty good job in keeping my skin looking as clear and healthy as possible. but I swear by this concealer. This is the Tarte Maracuja Creaseless Concealer. And once again, nourishing ingredients for those under eyes, but it doesn't settle into the fine lines under my eyes. It doesn't crease, it doesn't crack. It wears really nicely with powder on top. And I just look, and my under eyes look so good, the best they can possibly look. And I feel confident. And those two together are just the recipe for success when it comes to really aging backwards or just aging well. I'm gonna keep using those two terms together because I don't want, everyone might have their own preference, whatever. I just don't want too many comments or too many comments saying, oh, aging backwards, what's so bad about aging at all? And truly, there's nothing wrong about aging. I am so happy to be alive. I can't even express it. I'm so happy to be getting older, and I'm happy to be aging well. And I truly do feel younger right now than I did when I was in my 20s. And my skin looks better than it did when I was in my 20s. So I feel like I really am aging backwards. When it comes to diet, I don't need to tell you that, whole foods, lots of veggies, fruits, and drinking tons of water. I always have a big water bottle right next to me, filled to the brim with water. I'm just sipping on water all day long, are going to be keys for your skin looking wonderful. You want to avoid the inflammatory foods. I still like to have my treats, and I guess my kryptonite would be French fries. I love French fries. I love pizza. I love chocolate, but I do everything in moderation. And avoiding alcohol is best if you can. Alcohol is just so incredibly dehydrating, and it just steals your glow from you. I still have an occasional glass of white wine, but I don't drink frequently, and my skin just looks so much more plump, luscious, and beautiful because of it. Also, coffee. I don't drink much coffee. Well, no, that's not true. I used to not drink coffee at all. I quit coffee, which was really tough. I went through horrible withdrawal about 2 years before I was diagnosed with breast cancer. In my whole breast cancer journey, I did not drink any coffee. But when I started my hormone blocking medication, it makes me incredibly tired. And because of that, I started drinking coffee. So right now I'm drinking coffee, which is dehydrating, and I feel like it does take away some of my skin glow and that plump. I'm going to wean myself off of it, but right now I'm just giving myself grace. I'm drinking the coffee so I can have the energy I need to get through the day, but I'm going to figure out a way to cut it out because I think it does affect how I'm aging. I am a big believer in moisturizing the skin with body oils and lotions. I'm a big fan of using Aveeno. And once again, with the body products, you want to make sure you're just avoiding anything with the synthetic fragrances, with perfumes, and with the pro-drying alcohols. I use a gentle cleanser, and I wish I brought it. It's in my shower right now. It's the CeraVe. I'll link it down below. It's a CeraVe cream cleanser, and I use that all over my body instead of using the traditional body washes. If you go to Target and you just look at all the body washes there, a lot of them, one of the first few ingredients is sulfates, and sulfates just thin out the skin. They strip the skin of its moisture, and they're just horrible for the skin. So I want to use something that's going to nourish my skin, not strip it or thin it out. And for me, using that CeraVe face cleanser, it comes in a pretty big bottle, and the price is pretty nice. And it, is able to get rid of all the sweat, grime, dust, anything that gets on my skin throughout the day. Give my skin a nice cleanse. It's infused with ceramides, which are very moisturizing. And for me, it is the perfect thing to use when I'm in the shower. Moving and walking is great for your skin. I'm sitting at my desk quite a bit, but I do try to get up and stretch. I'll walk around the house a little bit, and that just gets the blood flowing, the circulation going, and of course that's going to make your skin look better more healthier, but also it's just going to make you feel a little bit more alive. It's going to wake you up a bit, and it's just great for your mental health as well. And strength training. So my thing with strength training is you need to figure out what is it that you like. If you do not like those heavy type of more masculine workouts, personally for me, I hate anything to do with boot camp. I don't want to be where people are grunting. It's just not my thing. I've never been able to lift heavy. I don't want to lift heavy. I like feminine and softer workouts. So I'm just getting back into strength training because I didn't do it when I was going through chemo, and then afterwards I was very weak. And for me, I love reformer Pilates, and I use light weights. I can't lift more than 10 pounds with my right arm for the rest of my life. I had some lymph nodes removed. So I like to do just light weights on very, I would say, soft-spoken, feminine YouTube videos. And for me, that's just what works best. I have read before a few different times that what the strength training you do in your 40s will ultimately decide how comfortable you're going to be in your 70s. So what that's saying is start your strength training if you're not already. You're going to be so happy when you're in your 70s. And lastly, you got to stay slim. I'm not saying this in a way that sounds fat phobic or anything of that type of language. I don't think that way. But I feel that if you can keep yourself in a healthy body weight, then you're going to just have an easier time with your joints, your heart. And honestly, if you look on Instagram or any type of social media, the women that seem to really thrive in their later years are ones that have been able to manage their weight. And that is just the way it is. I am body positive. I have friends of all shapes and sizes. They're all beautiful and wonderful, and everyone is just as worthy as everyone else. This is simply just something for aging well, and it just is what it is. So that's enough for the body and the skin. But what about the mind? My mindset got me through chemo and breast cancer in general. You know, when that happened, it's one of the most shocking, horrible things that can just suddenly happen in life, to get a cancer diagnosis. But I said to myself, you know what, instead of letting this be just this horrible thing that happened to me, I am going to reframe this. I'm going to rewrite this as one of the best things that has ever happened to me. And truly, breast cancer has been one of the best things. It's been tough, challenging, and it's something that I'm going to keep dealing with for years and years and years. But it gave me a lot of blank space to really reevaluate my life, to take a deep look at myself, do very deep introspection, and it kind of gave me this white space to script out the life that I want to live for the rest of my life. And really that comes down to reframing how you see things happen in your life, how you talk to yourself, and really how you love yourself. And so if you struggle with that, if you struggle with how you're talking to yourself, my advice to you is honestly get a therapist. You will, for God's sakes. Sorry, that was my husband calling me, and he knows I'm doing this video, so he just drives me crazy sometimes. I love the man, but oh my gosh. Anyways, so reframe how you talk to yourself and prioritize yourself. I could have just answered his call, but I am making this video for my YouTube channel. This is something I'm doing for me today, and this is my time. And you know what? That is a healthy, beautiful thing, and that's a boundary, and I'm gonna get into that in just a little bit, but I'm showing you them in real time. So daily meditation, I meditate every single day. Sometimes I only do it for 5 minutes because I only have 5 minutes. I only want to do it for 5 minutes, but it's a way to just get rid of everything in your life. Just focus on yourself, your breathing, and clearing your mind. And when you can clear your mind, even for 5 minutes, you will have a fantastic day. This is what I do every single day, and it is so healthy mentally. If you're not sure how to meditate or you really never have gotten into it, there are so many meditations on YouTube. You can find a 5-minute meditation, start doing it every day and see what happens and see how you feel in a couple weeks from now. I also am big on decluttering the mind, decluttering space, decluttering everything. I feel that when we have too much stuff around us, too much stuff in our minds, it weighs us down, it drains us, it ages us. This is a great way to age backwards, and it's something that I actively practice. If I have a lot on my mind, I write it all down on a piece of paper. Somehow I'm taking all of that energy off me, I'm putting it onto a piece of paper. I can now see it more subjectively. I can just see it differently, and I can feel that weight lifting off me. I'm in the process right now of decluttering my clothes. I tend to hold on to things and I just have too much stuff. And also I'm looking at my clothes differently now. Now that I'm getting a little bit older, I'm saying what shades actually flatter me. And that's a big thing. If you dress for your shades, if you do that color analysis, you will look better. You're gonna be maxing out on your looks, maxing out on your features, your natural features, your natural coloring, and really looking your absolute best. And that is part of aging backwards. You can go on Pinterest to find out more about color analysis, and you probably can find someone in your area that does it if you want to opt for getting that service. But when you wear colors that really flatter your skin tone and your coloring, your eyes, your hair, you are going to be for sure aging backwards, aging well, because you are going to look dynamite when you are properly when you're wearing the proper colors. And that's something I've gotten really into lately. So when I've been decluttering my closet, I've gotten rid of a lot of clothing that just weren't quite right. And when I say I'm getting rid of it, I'm selling some of it, donating the other. Nothing is going to waste. So what else? Okay, emotional hygiene. Back to the therapy. I started therapy when I was going through chemotherapy, and that's because I was just grieving the old life I was leaving behind and, stepping into this new life. And I just felt like I really needed some therapy. So I did. And when I did it, I said, oh my gosh, why did I not start this sooner? And I feel like everybody that goes into therapy says this. Oh my gosh, it is a wonderful tool for introspection. When you start therapy, you will start finding out why you think the way you think, why you do the things you do. There's so much outdated programming that we have within us. And it's like you just break free of those chains, those beliefs, those thought patterns, and you just emerge into this lighter, clearer, more wonderful, more authentic version of you. It's truly key to aging well or aging backwards. And also journaling. I'm a big journaler. I don't do it every single day. I would love to do it every single day, but I do it most days of the week, and I do a whole manifestation. I have a manifestation book. I'll link it down below, but I write out the things that I want, and honestly, they all come to me. I also journal about things that are bothering me, the frustrations, like I said earlier, things I have to look forward to, things that happened to me that were great, things that weren't so great, and just getting it all out on that paper is so cathartic and therapeutic. I'm also a big reader. If you love to read, even if you don't love to read, I challenge you to read at least one fictional book a month, or nonfiction if that's what you prefer. But I think there's something very healthy about reading. It's very grounding, and it helps you also to just get rid of all of the day-to-day stuff, all the to-do lists, all of that, and just focus on something that's very organic. And it's always been part of my aging backwards routine. Also, working towards something. Now, if you're retired or if you have a job and you're just crazy busy, it's always good to still have goals to work towards. It doesn't matter what age you are or where you are in life. Personally, for me right now, I am working towards launching my beauty brand, which is going to be just incredible. I can't wait to step into that new phase of life. And I've also recently signed up for classes to learn Emirati Arabic. I've been living in Dubai for 16 years. I've always wanted to learn the language. And I said to myself a few months ago, I said, I'm really disappointed I haven't learned it yet. And then my next thought was, well, what better time than now? And that's just my mindset. That's my attitude. So I signed up for classes and now I am being really challenged, but it is so much fun. I love always learning something new, and why not? And for you, perhaps you don't want to go through something so big like that, but maybe working towards something is making a goal for yourself for how many books you want to read a month, or steps you want to get in per day, and just having something to work towards. It keeps our minds, I think, active, and it's great for our confidence too, especially when we hit those goals. I do want to touch back on something with the body that I forgot earlier, and that's our hair. I am a big believer in doing salon only. Do not do at home, and do not use box dye. You want to make sure that you're getting a salon quality haircut and salon quality hair color, because that is just going to make you look so much more polished and so much more put together. And I mean, right now, as you can see, I'm growing out my hair. I had shaved my head when I went through chemo. That was unbelievable. But right now I'm still going and I'm getting my hair shaped as I'm growing it back out. And you can always tell when hair is box dyed, and it's just a flatter, less polished look. If you have thinning at your temples, I highly recommend you get some Rogaine or Regain, whatever it is for women, the minoxidil, and just put it on your temples every night to help that hair come back. When the temples go and the hair really thins out there, which happens to a lot of women as they age, it does make you look older. So having lush, thick hair is of course going to make you age backwards and look like you just have, a healthy, full head of hair. And moving on to the fountain of youth. Number 1, self-acceptance. Self-acceptance is huge. That ties back into the therapy if you struggle with that. And it's really about giving yourself grace. Right now, I'm heavier than I've ever been. I am exercising and I'm eating healthy. I'm getting back into everything. But after the year I had last year, things just weren't the same. And instead of beating myself up, I'm giving myself grace. And I am just letting myself get back to where I want to be in my own time. When I was in my 20s, I would have been starving myself. I would have been doing grueling workouts to get there, and I'm just not going to disrespect my body like that anymore. And that's a huge part of really aging backwards, is just that self-acceptance, and it's also that healthy mindset of where you are, where you want to be, and just giving yourself the grace and the time to get there. Self-acceptance is also so important for obviously our confidence, but you want to just step into life and go through life as the main character. You should be the main character in your own story. Why would you let anyone else be the main character in your own book? And if you have hangups, especially things that traumatized you as a child, for me, I was completely traumatized growing up because I was always made fun of for being so pale. And people would call me all sorts of names, and I spent years covering myself up with self-tanner until I finally said, you know what, I'm just going to accept myself for the way I am and see the beauty within me as it is. When I was going through chemotherapy, at one point I was completely bald. I had no eyelashes, I had no eyebrows. I had gained 30 pounds seemingly overnight. I was packed with fluids. My face was like a moon. I was hopped up on so many steroids. And I looked in the mirror at this reflection of this person looking back at me, someone I just didn't even recognize. And I said to myself, it's really easy to love yourself when you're looking your best, when you're in your prime and just things are going your way. But what about when things aren't? And I looked at myself and I said, can I still see the beauty in me? And I was here in my office. I have a big closet right here that only has mirror doors. And I realized that I could. And it was just this new level of self-acceptance and self-love. And I just value myself so much. And that is such a powerful place to be in. Honestly, I think that's probably one of the most powerful places to be. And if you're not there, I highly recommend you make it a goal to get yourself there. And journaling, therapy, I know I keep saying it, but I'm big on therapy, is just how you're going to reframe the way you talk to yourself, the way you look at yourself, and you are going to hit this incredible place of self-acceptance where you're going to realize there's so much noise all around you, but really what matters is you. And getting myself there has just been an incredible journey, and I am just more confident today than I ever was in my 20s. I accept myself, I love myself, and I also prioritize my own life, and that's my goals. That's my dreams, my health, and my happiness. I have 2 kids, I have 2 teenagers, and when I was a teenager, I hated being around my parents. I feel bad saying that, but it's true. I could not stand my parents, but my kids always want to be with me. And I have set mommy's working hours, and my kids respect that. I set the boundaries, and I make sure that in order to be the best mom I can be, I also need to take the best care of myself that I can take. And I'm very open with my kids about this, and we chat about all these types of things, but it's not just with my kids, it's also with my husband, and it's with work and everything. I am the main character in my life, and I live my life as such. Recognize lessons. If you have the same issues popping up in your life again and again and again, there is a lesson there that you need to learn. Take a step back, step outside of that box that is you, and look down and say, what is this trying to teach me? You know, if you keep dating, if you keep having the same issues with men you're dating, these men are teachers, believe it or not, and they are teaching you a lesson. And once you learn that lesson, you upgrade and you're gonna find a better man. And that's not just with men, that is with all aspects of life. And even with friends, sometimes, well, for me, for example, I was a people pleaser for years. And so I naturally attracted people that wanted to suck me dry. They would just drain my energy. They wanted to trauma dump all of their issues onto me so that they would walk away feeling so much better, and then I would be handling that heavy energy. And what I started to do was I recognized that I kept attracting these types of people into my life. What are these people teaching me? And what the people were teaching me, honestly, were boundaries. I needed to learn boundaries. I didn't have them. And boundaries are so, so, so important to aging well and aging backwards, because why would you let anyone else age you and drain you and bring you down? There's no reason for that. What you need to do is have meaningful relationships. And once again, this goes back to therapy, and this goes back to really that self-discovery, self-introspection, and self-acceptance. But when you start to follow these things, oh my gosh, it's like you're in a video game and you unlock some special world that is just full of wonderful things in abundance. And for me, when I started learning boundaries and figuring out what my boundaries were, where they were strong, where they were weak, and I started enforcing stronger boundaries, I found that the meaningful relationships stayed in my life, while the ones that were not meaningful left. And it wasn't necessarily the easiest thing, but it was the healthiest thing for me. And it's healthy for my mind, my body, and my spirit. I no longer allow trauma dumping on me. I do not do that. Trauma dumping is not okay. And I recognize lessons. If I have repeated patterns happening to me, instead of thinking to myself, why is this happening to me? I think, what is this trying to teach me? And all of these things are what I do honestly to age well. and age backwards. And I will be putting out that video on knowing your ingredients, but right now, why don't you check out my morning skincare routine at 42.